Hello guys and welcome to the final day of the World Cyber Games 2019 live from Xi'an, China, where it is time for the final that all of these people in this building have been waiting for, Todd. I know they had a lot of esports today, but this is the one final. Why they're here?
Oh yeah, we've been waiting for this one. Both players have been on an absolute tear. Both TH and Infi just played incredible the whole tournament. In particular in the semi-finals, you know, we mentioned those were all going to be rematches. We got the two rematches where the games had been the best in the round robin. They weren't the best in the semi-finals. No. They were pretty one-sided. Both players on absolute fire, and it only makes sense here that the two world's best players would meet in the grand finals in what I hope will deliver here in terms of a grand finals. It's going to be a best-of-3 human versus human, as far as I know at least, unless something crazy happens and they want to play something different, but this should be really good.
With TH, you never know, right? And obviously, Todd, this is also a chance for both these guys to follow in the footsteps of Sky.
Yeah.
Win their second WCG gold medal. TH can actually become the back-to-back champion, even though the last tournament he won was roughly 6-7 years ago. But it still counts as a back-to-back. And Infi, of course, got that amazing victory in 2009. And let's not forget what happened in that final, Todd, when he left game one after like 3 minutes, and he still ended up winning the whole thing.
Yeah, Infi's really good at not letting things affect him when it's like that. So usually he's one of the few players like where it's going. If it's going really bad, you shouldn't read too much into it. He's still going to be playing his best in the next game, not in that one game, because obviously he leaves pretty quickly. But yeah, they've both been again so impressive, and they came back really strong in those two semi-finals. Infi was against Hawk, whom he was the only player that he had lost to in the round robin, and he just looked like he was on another level. Like he honestly made it look like that was completely one-sided. Whereas TH, he had just lost to Moon the day prior. I love how it's like, you know, the rematch, and he's the player that lost really that comes back with the revenge too in this case. And TH just looked same thing that he had adjusted perfectly. I would say though, I think in human Infi has looked better.
Yeah,
obviously he's looked extremely good against Hawk in the rematch. He did lose the first series, but other than that, he's been the more impressive player. He toppled the round robin.
Yep, and don't forget that he obviously beat TH in the group stage as well, right? Yeah. To be on top, since he only had one loss, like you pointed out. I mean, both these guys, they did kind of just stand above the rest in this tournament. A lot of people in this building, even though we're in China and they love the Chinese Warcraft, we're actually cheering for Moon. A lot of people really want to see Moon finally win that gold medal, but to be honest, Moon simply wasn't on the level of the other two. Like, Moon is still a legend, he's an absolute star, a god in this game. But this weekend, it was all about Infi and TH.
Absolutely. I'm sure he'll be back stronger. That's the good thing about Moon, you know. Like
there's always next year, Moon.
Yeah, I don't expect him to stop playing anytime soon. I mean, he's still one of the best. He's one of the biggest names in the game. And actually, the crowd around him was like, that was like magical. They were chanting Moon, Moon. Like there's some of these videos going on out there. It's been pretty incredible to follow. But yeah, after all of these days, it really feels like the two players that played the best so far are meeting one another in the grand finals. And this is a matchup that we've seen in the past happen a couple times, and I feel like Infi usually gets the better end of TH here, as we have the both players enter the stage. They don't exchange flags this time.
A little hog as well. I mean, obviously both these guys, they go way back. Whether they're super close friends or not, they have known each other for pretty much half of their lives, or even more at this point. These are guys that were around in 2005, 2006. Obviously, I think they kind of hit their stride in 2007, 2008, 2009. But even that feels, that's over 10 years ago. It is crazy how these guys are still on top. We said it before. Both these guys already won a gold medal once upon a time. You know, Infi has kind of been my pick throughout the weekend, Todd. I really felt like he was the guy who was going to take it home all, and everybody else, like a lot of people at least, told me TH. But it seems like after that stunning performance in the semi-final yesterday, a lot of people are on the Infi hype train right now.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like he's looked more impressive in general. You can't count TH out though.
No,
he came back so much stronger after losing that one series against Moon in the next day that I feel like it might be the same here. He might be coming back with a revenge. Very well prepared. He's had a whole day to really think about this here, how he was going to go about playing against Infi, who Infi in the other semi-finals was facing a human, so that's extra content that TH gets to study from. But obviously in those games, Infi simply played standard, didn't make a single miss. Like, that was about as flawless as I've ever seen a human being played from him.
The one thing that really stands out to me about Infi's play throughout this tournament is that he's decisive as hell. He's so clutch. He doesn't second guess himself. He takes creep cams away where you're like, whoa, are you really creeping that far away from your own base, this close to your opponent? He gets away with it. And even if he gets creep checked, I don't know how he always does it, but it seems like he solves it and he turns it around almost, where it's like, all right, you're not trapping me here with the creeps, I'm trapping you. with the creeps, and then suddenly things go into his way. Either way, this should be an amazing grand final. The first map is going to be played on Amazonia, as you guys can see. Ancient Isles once again, Todd. We barely saw it in the first 2 days. We saw it yesterday, and we see it again here.
I'm a little bit surprised. I guess it's mirror at the end of the day, so it doesn't matter as much, but Ancient Isle usually wouldn't be one of the maps that you might veto a lot of the time.
It's not even a ladder map, right?
Yeah, in the other matchups, no, it's not. But it's been in tournaments for a while, you know, and I guess it kind of went away for a little bit in some of the tournaments that we saw, but it's here at WCG, and I guess it adds a little bit more diversity. But I'm quite glad we saw it in Amazonia, because I feel like it's about as straight up as it gets. You creep a little bit in the start, and then immediately you're clashing in the middle of the map. You can't really run around and create big camps. They're going to be getting into each other's face. They're going to be fighting early on, and they're going to get us started with some action here on Amazonia for map number 1.
It's going to be a slugfest. I'm with you. A very tiny map in the grand scheme of things. Even though there's a lot of creeps, there's often a lot of action in the middle of it. Todd, I just have the biggest smile on my face, man. All these people here, they're so enthusiastic. They're so passionate about Warcraft. This is amazing. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be part of this grand final. And it is finally here on the right top side of Amazonia. We took a very quick look at the main base of Infi.
His opponent in the red, also representing China, it is TH000.
It's been a very successful World Cyber Games for China so far, Todd.
Oh, yeah.
We took a look at the medal standings, and I think all the other nations combined have less medals than China. That's pretty much how it went.
Too much suspense there on who's going to win that. So on this map, like I mentioned, you creep for a little bit. Usually you start with your lab first, then you do a small green camp, and then you head around the middle. You can still do one of the smaller green camp with the Murlocs near your base with just militia, 5 or 6, as we saw before. And from there, you get to decide whether you want to be really aggressive and head on the other side of the map and fight the opponent, or if you want to do something completely different, maybe creep one of the other big camps, like an expansion. And I would say I'm more inclined to guess that they're both going to want to kind of run into one another and then micro footman. And they're actually two of the absolute best. Like TH is known for that at saving footman, which is incredible. Like against Water Elemental level 2, he knows when to pull them back, when to escape with those very low hit points. And already we see the SimCity of Infi here. He's building a bunch of farms and all alike from TH to make sure that Water Elementals are harder to be summoned inside of his base from outside of the wall. And that's a very important thing to do in human-human, because if the other player goes to your base and wants to kill peasants, he's going to have to be able to do that in order to achieve that.
Yeah, I think I'm 100% with you. You know, there is one thing though, like if they're both save so many of their footmen, they're often this moment, right, where it's like 4 or 5 low HP footmen, and then the other player, because they know that of each other as well, then the AM shows up, and it actually becomes kind of hard to heal those footmen up again, right? Because like you're running 4 or 5 footmen away, they're all low on HP, and they often have this funny moment where you're running circles in your own base. Either way, we'll see which items these guys are going to pick up. Obviously, these are not game-deciding, game-changing items, but it is very nice to start with a little boost on your Archmage. Preferably, obviously, you want to get the intelligence items here.
Yeah. Only if it's very one-sided. Like if you find ring and then like, you know, a couple of very passive items and the opponent gets like 3 damage items, then I would say it is almost game decisive, because you fall really far behind. Like we saw Gloves of Haste up there and Tome of Intelligence. So it's a pretty good combo already in terms of like the best things that you can fight from Infi.
Oh well, at least TH is going to keep things even, Todd. He picks up a mantle. The Cloak of Shadows, obviously, I mean, yeah, it's nice if you get surrounded. Every item, of course, guys, in StarCraft 2, in case you guys don't watch the game all the time, has a purpose. There is no such thing as something being 100% useless. But obviously, certain items are just a little bit better on certain heroes. Very similar to like the MOBA setups and stuff like that. And obviously, the mantle here is a little bit nicer for TH than the cloak is for Infi.
That's a little bit unusual. Very rare for something. He's gonna deny. Or not.
No. Okay, well that's some free XP. First blood being drawn in favor of TH. A little bit sloppy there by Infi. He was busy creeping in the middle of the map. TH is doing some multitasking as well, creeping with the militia.
They're both doing that right now. It's both players got 1 damage item out of 2.
Ooh.
Okay, so it's 2 damage items out of 3.
Elemental
for Infi, and same thing for TH. His Water Elemental gets sniped here. He gets to choose whether he wants to fight. Usually, you count footman versus footman. Right now, Infi has more footmen, so I'm a little bit surprised that TH is turning around.
He's confident in his Archmage stat, and can you blame the man with a mantle and a circlet as well? Still one footman being annoying on the other side of the map. That AM is being chased. He buys boots of speed very quickly. 1 footman does go down there, by the way, for TH, so that's a nice job by Infi. But Infi is never going to be able to save his own footman against his super fast Archmage.
Ooh, he's going all the way around. He wants to make sure he gets that footman.
What?
What? A little bit too far. Can he deny? Ooh, he was going to go for it.
Yeah, it was close with the elemental there as well.
The Archmage of Infi completely left the area, by the way. He went on the side of the map,
also
for the shop
boots.
to make sure he can get boots here in this case.
Yeah, that's obviously kind of painful, guys. You want to keep your hero in the fight. The hero represents the most damage and has the biggest ability to actually chase down these units and pick them up. You can see that this AM of TH actually got multiple kills now already. Yeah. Immediately goes back to creeping as well. I love how decisive and fast they are. That's a Dome of Intelligence as well. That's always nice. And what else did he pick up? Another Mantle, Todd.
Yeah, this is like extremely good right now. The Archmage is going to hit like a truck. Infi got there late as well, so that creep was already done. And I love how TH disengaged from the creeps. He knew he couldn't quite fight the creeps plus the army of Infi at the same time, so he just moved back. And right now Infi is not doing as well as we saw him do earlier in this tournament. I would have expected the game to kind of look the other way around, but TH is holding his own and doing really well.
Yep. He basically has everything going for himself. He does pick up the Dome.
I'll take that.
The TH left behind, and right now Infi can use every little thing. Another Footman getting called in the middle of the map. That's like the 4th Footman already that has gone down in this game. Infi did get a cancel there on the Arcane Vault, so that's something he can maybe work with. But I'm with you, Todd. I'm starting to get very worried. I really felt that maybe Infi should have just stuck around there with his Archmage instead of abandoning the fight. He gets that one as well.
That's a ton of experience, by the way. Like, this is really gonna add up eventually. I feel like TH is gonna be quite... Yeah, look! He's quite a bit closer to level 4 than Infi right now. They're gonna re-engage yet again. Archmage is kind of trying to get an angle on one another.
I do feel like that was the first little engagement that actually went a bit better there for Infi, because he got a couple of hits off very quickly, put some pressure on that AM. But yeah, Infi running all the way to the other side of the map to buy his own boots of speeds. Obviously, it is super important to get the boots, but he really lost multiple units trying to pick up that boots, and he wasn't able to deny or last hit anything. Footman actually very close to being surrounded as well. So definitely an early advantage here for TH. He has more experience on his hero, he has the better items, and he was able to pick up more units. But Todd, of course, I mean, this is still early game, plenty of comeback potential for Infi.
Yeah, but if the Archmage gets level 4 way earlier, this is going to be really tough to deal with. Infi did use a Clarity and Scroll Regeneration. Not sure where he's headed. Mercamp? Or does he want to do the small camp down there? Both players going to go for mount tanking. And yeah, once you start pumping out those priests and then those breakers, the big question becomes, who expands? Does anybody expand, or do they both play one base and creep a bunch? Footman, Water Elemental against Footman, Water Elemental happening right now in the center. TH gonna have to pull back. He may defend actually, really interesting.
I know, how do you feel about this?
It's a little bit costly, but it feels like it's helping against those Water Elementals. And what's very important is to keep the Footmen alive. You know, I already talked about this previously in the tournament. They're very important to help fight against the breakers. They're
the Elemental is not gonna get denied, and now that Archmage is incredibly close to level 4, basically just one more kill is enough here for TH.
He's gonna get it now. He's gonna go for the small camp that's down there, whereas Infi has to pull back and heal. It feels like Infi is so far away from level 4 in comparison.
He is, but I think if he just sneaks in one camp somewhere, I think he's gonna be okay. I must say, TH did a really good job though in keeping track of Infi, right? There were multiple moments where Infi clearly wanted to get a camp done very quickly, but TH was always there. Yep.
Oh my god.
Oh, it gets away. But now the Footman is going to go down. And then it's still level 4. No, it's not. Footman gives no XP at all.
Yeah, not enough. Because the Mountain King's there too. And I love how he gave instantly the boots and the ringer of protection here to the Mountain King to make sure it's a little bit tanky and fast enough here to help fight.
I do love this though. This is Amazonia, right? They're in each other's face. They're basically fighting in a phone booth right now. They're not giving each other an inch because they also know how good obviously their opponent is.
Yeah.
If you give them like 20 seconds, half of the map is going to be gone. You need to keep track of your opponent at all costs, all the time. And they're fighting over every little creep. There's a... We're fighting over... Actually, I love that Militia is showing up here immediately for Infi, and that's going to push TH back for now.
Yeah, that's something I noticed from these Chinese humans. They're always grouping peasants that are in the woods, so they're ready. They don't even need to look back at home. They just press the hotkey, rally that across the map. Level 4 is going to be achieved here from TH, whereas Infi is still quite a bit far away from that. Single and snare on one of the militia. That creep is on TH's side, I think.
Yeah, and that was a long and snare as well from way downtown. So in the end, the militia not able to really turn this battle around. The first priest have already showed up for TH. Down almost immediately.
Okay, Infi is very good with the surrounds here. He might be going for one of the heroes. It looks like the Archmage is going to be his target. Kind of forcing it to run back. That's going to be a TP forced here in a second. But TH is attacking the tunnel. TP is going to be used, but the tunnel is going to be cancelled just before TH gets out. This is a massive pickoff because now I don't know that Infi has the wood to really restart that ASAP. And TH's expansion is going to be way earlier.
Yep, I think for a second there, Infi thought about running to the other side of the map and doing the same thing, but I think he also realized that it was going to be too late. That AM is low though, and I must say it's a pretty vulnerable AM at this point as well, right? The only thing it has is +6 intelligence, which is very nice if it's healthy, but I do think that TH is playing a dangerous game here, going out without Town Portal.
Infi aborted the expansion, he sent those militia back home, so now TH is stripping the mercenary camp. I think that's going to be Mount Tanking level 3 if he pulls his Archmage back. He's going to be in such a good position, like his production is going to completely take off. He could even buy some mercenaries with the surplus gold that he's going to get. And he went for an Arcane Tower on his expansion, which is very important. It's going to make it so much easier for him to fight there. Yeah, Mount Tanking's level 3, and TH is in such a fantastic position right now. I think I see Militia going from the center of the map right now, and Infi is going to be going all in on that expansion of TH in a second.
He's going for it, Todd. Infi realized that if he plays the expand game right now, he will most likely just fall a little too far behind. I do think that 47 supply actually.
Yeah, against 57. Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, mercenaries were bought. It seems like TH really picked up on it. That Archmage though, Todd, is still a pretty vulnerable target. It doesn't really have any healing at all, but there is an Arcane Tower, and the Mountain King gets stunned in range of that Arcane Tower as well. So that's a lot of lost mana immediately on the side of Infi.
Yeah, the Arcane Tower is really tough to deal with. Infi's in an impossible situation right now. Does he pull back and try to expand? Does he keep on pressing into an army that just looks way bigger than his?
I think
he might just get desperate and go for the heroes, but even that, I mean,
he has to kill the Archmage.
Smaller.
That's the only thing he can do. He has to go for the Archmage right now, and it is a vulnerable target in a way. It's going to be chased down. The Mountain King is going to try to save the AM. Want of mana stealing being used as well. Stormbolt though, Todd, and that Archmage of TH is going to go down. Is there hope here for Infi?
Infi, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm very skeptical because he still has so little in comparison. TH is so rich that he can just instant rebuy from there. I already see a unit in the center of the map. Might just be lacking a little bit of wood to be able to do that right now, but that Mountain King is doing fine on its own, and he's gonna go for the Mountain King on Infi. The Invuln doesn't get used on time as he was still Stormbolted, and Infi's just gonna tap out. TH with a fantastic game number 1. I expected this series, or even this first map, to look completely the opposite, but TH says, you know what? I think you guys are forgetting who the GOAT is.
A very explosive game 1 here of our grand finals. I really think though, Todd, like, it's often about momentum, right? And setting the pace of the game. And I think the first big skirmish, it seemed very even across the board, but TH immediately ran to that shop towards the left. He picked up the boots, and Infi is like, well, if he gets boots, I'm definitely going to need to get boots as well to chase down those footmen. But he had to run all the way to the right side of the map, and I feel from that point on, it was an uphill battle for Infi.
Yeah, and then what did he do? He chased the Archmage away, and instead of chasing way too far, he said, well, your Archmage is going away, I can just creep this camp, or like at least this one creep here at this camp quick and get an extra item, gets an extra damage item than his opponent, and he definitely capitalized big time on that. After that, he kept on getting good trades, and Infi just a little bit sloppy at times, to be honest, like that one footman on the left-hand side that got caught, you know, like overextending in some of these fights. After that, it was all TH. TH definitely got a better item, by the way, at the Expo. Like the mana steal against Scroll the Beast. Like, I mean, Scroll the Beast. It's only as good as 200 gold here in these situations. Scroll the Beast is only ever good if you fast expand. Both players fast expand, and then you buy a ton of mercenaries. Then okay. But other than that, like, in this game, felt totally useless.
But in TH's defense, I think by then he already created a very decent advantage for himself, right? It definitely wasn't like, oh no, he got the better item, now he gets ahead, because he simply had the better early game, and I think he had the better mid game as well. We saw how much quicker his AM got level 4, and that's not a game-changing level, but it is a very nice little advantage to have. And that obviously allowed him to get the MK to level 3 very quickly as well. I kind of like the move in the end there by Infi to go for the Archmage, because that was the weakest and vulnerable target. It was, I think, his only play. He got the job done, but then that Mountain King is like, I don't need no AM. That's a strong, independent Mountain King, Todd. He doesn't need an old man on a horse to win a battle.
I've wanted to prove myself forever, and now I get a shot at it. I'll take it. I really have to commend TH though on his decision making. Attacking the tunnel at the Expo was actually massive. I feel like so many players here, myself included, would have just gone for the units.